Morning, back at Stamford Hall again. Apologies for the really poor lighting today. It's a very overcast day, so I hope you can see and understand what's going on. I've just spent the last hour in the Pears walled garden doing a bit of weeding in the rose bed, which is something I didn't actually get to do a lot of last year because one of our brilliant garden volunteers, Mel, spent a lot of time in the walled garden and kind of took it on as her own. So I hope I haven't spoilt it for her, and I hope that she'll give me the thumbs up when she sees it next. But it did get me thinking about weeding. It's a tedious job, but it's something that we all need to do. And to be honest, it does have its merits, obviously for the plants, in that it stops them being overcrowded by things we don't want. But also from horticultural therapy point of view, it's actually it has an awful lot of merits. I'm actually sat on the edge of a raised bed at the moment. So this is one of our high ground rose beds that I built last year with a couple of the patients. Filled with our beautiful British Sugar topsoil, so thanks British Sugar for that. It's brilliant stuff. It does seem to grow weeds really well. Weeding, yeah, there's lots of different tools we can use for weeding, and there's lots of different benefits we can gain from doing it. Most of the weeding I've done in my life, I've done using a hoe. So this is just a standard Dutch hoe. It's on a short shaft though, so when we're in a raised bed, it's actually a really good tool. And it means that somebody's working on standing tolerance or needs to work on pacing, something like that. It's a great tool because it's a nice gentle action. We're just gently moving the hoe backwards and forwards. And also, you know, if we get tired, we can just have a little bit of a seat on the wall. So the Dutch hoe, very simple, just cuts the weeds off and they end up just being uprooted. You can either pick them up, stick them in a bucket, or you can actually just hoe them off. Leave them on the surface. On a hot sunny day, the roots will dry up and they will be no more. So that's the hoe. As I say, this is a nice short hoe, so it's absolutely perfect for standing at a raised bed and working. And this raised bed is just the right height that even if we were in a wheelchair, we could sit alongside it with a tool like this and we could work very easily. So this is a brilliant tool, perfect for the job. Most people probably like to kind of get stuck in and get really involved with the soil when they're weeding. So you'd probably use just a standard garden fork. Again, brilliant horticultural therapy project. It's working on our grip, which a lot of people need to work on after accidents. It's also working on discrimination, because if you look here, I don't know if you can see, but we've got a strawberry plant, but we also have a weed growing underneath it. So we're using the discrimination to think, okay, we want to keep strawberry, but we don't want to keep the weed. So it's a good cognitive project as well. And again, we're just similar action to the hoe, just in the ground, lifting and up we come, and then we can just dispose of the weeds again onto the compost heap. So similar action, but a little bit closer, a little bit finer skills, a little bit more hands-on. And again, even from a wheelchair, we could use a little fork like this. For those that might need to have a little longer shaft, maybe a little bit longer reach tool, these are brilliant tools. These were donated to us a couple of years ago by a company called Prongcroft, and they're a funny looking tool because they are a two-pronged garden fork, but they're absolutely brilliant. Again, they're like a hoe for weeding. We can weed up, we can lift the weeds that we want, but we can also weed right up to things like these strawberry plants. And we're not going to accidentally lift them out the ground like we might do with a fork. So these are great tools, and we've got these in short handle, medium handle and long handle. So again, whether you're standing, whether you're sitting, whether you're in a wheelchair, perfect tool for the job. So yeah, that's the short handle one as well. So absolutely lovely. I think these are brilliant tools, and I use them an awful lot, and they really are very good for just getting in there. And don't be scared to get in amongst it. You know, it's working on your pinch grip, getting in, picking the weeds out. And as I say, it's working on your discrimination. If you suddenly spot something that doesn't look like the weeds you're pulling up, it might be something interesting. Just weeding in the rose garden this morning, I uncovered a self-set sunflower, so we'll let that grow and do its thing. So then we move on to those that can't hold a tool like this. It's going to be difficult for them. They may have suffered a hand injury, an arm injury, something like that, or just not have a very strong grip. So then we move into adaptive tools like these petter tools we've got here. So again, same principle. It's a garden fork, three-pronged fork, but instead of the handle being like this, it's turned on the vertical, horizontal even, I do apologise, and it means you can hold it like this, and you can now weed with a slightly different action, and it's brilliant for working on grip. And I find it a little bit of a strange tool to use, to be honest, but I have seen it used to great effect with patients, and they do find it very useful to have that extra different way of holding the tool. So you're starting to see there's lots of different tools that we can use for exactly the same purpose. I mean, in reality, this soil is quite light and friable. You don't even need a tool. You can just get in there with your fingers and just get in there amongst it and weed it. Even getting your hands in the soil is a brilliant therapy for you. All sorts of microbes and bacteria and stuff in the soil are absorbed by the skin, which releases feel-good endorphins. So if you're feeling a bit down, come and get your hands in the soil and do a bit of weeding. We finally have another one of the adaptive tools, which is kind of like a little bit of a fork. So instead of a pushing, digging action, it's more of a scraping action. So if that sort of forward motion is a difficult one, and this is a great tool because you can get in amongst it and just rake the weeds back towards you. As you can see, it does a very good job of freeing all the weeds up from the soil. So there are many different ways of weeding, and they're just a few of them. We try and steer clear of anything that would involve any sort of weed killers or pesticides or anything like that, but there are other ways of controlling weeds. You can put down very thick mulches on the beds. Some people use sort of landscape fabric. It's not something I'm a big fan of, because once weeds grow through it, it becomes really difficult to look after. So yeah, however you get out there doing your weeding, it's a brilliant time at the moment. We've had a little bit of rain, so the soil's nice and light and friable, and then you can get out, get amongst, and get to know your plants as well. I mean, how often do you actually stop and look at a strawberry plant and actually observe the flowers? And then look, we've even got new fruit forming already. So weeding is a great time to get amongst everything and to really just have a look and take stock and see what things are. And if you don't know what you're digging up, if you're weeding, the internet's a great tool these days. Just there are plenty of apps you can download and look up and see what things are. So yeah, I think it's only going to be one video this week because I've got a day's leave on Thursday. So we will just stick with this weeding one today. We've got lots of exciting projects starting from next week. We're going to be starting to do some virtual sessions with patients, hopefully from this week. We've got a planting session set up for them to do on Wednesday, and then we've got an exciting new project to start with them next week using our new auto pots self-watering system. So they're going to be something that we will look at in the near future, and we'll explore how we can use them with the patients and what sort of produce we can grow with them. So we're looking forward to that. So I think that's it for now. I'm going to carry on doing a little bit more weeding. So enjoy your gardens. Again, as always, keep sending me pictures. I have been getting some good pictures now, and I've been getting some good feedback from you guys. So it's great to be back at Stanford Hall, and I look forward to speaking to you from here in the very near future. So until next time, all the best. Ta-da.